All right, deep divers, buckle up because we are diving into workplace safety today.
But not the usual stuff.
No.
We're going deeper.
Much deeper.
We're talking about the kind of stuff that affects you long term.
Exactly. We're talking about the stuff that you don't even realize is hurting you.
Until it's too late.
Exactly. And that's why we're diving into this document called Threshold Limit Values for Chemical Substances and Physical Agents.
Catchy title.
Isn't it?
So our listener wrote in and basically said, look, this document,
Important.
but
Dense.
dense.
Yeah.
So we're going to break it down.
We're going to make it fun.
Yes.
We're going to make it relevant.
So this is for you, listener. We're tailoring this one specifically to you.
You got it. Your own personal deep dive.
There you go. So starting right at the beginning, why should we even care about this?
Oh, yeah.
If I'm listening to this right now, I might be thinking safety. Yeah, I know.
Important. Wear your hard hat.
Wear my hard hat. But how does this document, how do these TLVs, how does all of this, how is it actually going to impact me?
So imagine you're working around, let's just say, some loud machinery every single day.
Okay.
You might be wearing ear protection, which is great. That's the first step. But what about the long term? What about 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line? What this document does is it helps establish those limits.
Okay.
And says, okay, this level of noise for this amount of time. That's a recipe for, maybe some hearing loss down the road.
So it's like instead of just avoiding getting completely taken out by a wave today, we're actually learning how to read the currents.
Exactly.
So that we don't get caught in a riptide 10 years from now.
It's all about understanding those long-term risks and setting those safety dials just right.
Ooh, I like that. Safety dials.
Yeah.
So speaking of safety dials, let's talk about TLVs.
Okay.
Threshold limit values.
Yeah.
These are basically like...
Guidelines.
They are guidelines, like those recommended daily allowances.
Exactly.
You see those on food, right?
Yep.
But this is for stuff that you're encountering at work.
Exactly. Chemicals, noise, even heat.
And so just like those RDAs, those recommended daily allowances, they vary from person to person, right?
Exactly. They're not one size fits all.
Which is interesting because we think about safety rules and you think, oh, this is black and white.
Right.
Stay behind the line, don't do this. But it's not that simple.
It's not black and white. There are a lot of grays.
So TLVs, they're like personalized safety zones, essentially.
In a way, yeah.
But there's a few different types, right?
There are. We've got a few different flavors of TLVs.
Yeah. Hit me with it.
We've got acronyms galore. So we don't want to get bogged down in the jargon, but let's decode a few of them.
Okay.
First up, we've got TWA, time-weighted average.
Ooh, DWA.
Think about your daily caffeine intake.
Okay.
You're not going to chug a month's worth of coffee
Do not recommend.
in one sitting. Right. So TWA is about the average exposure to a substance over a typical workday, which is usually about 8 hours. So it's not about those quick bursts, but rather that sustained exposure over time.
So that's like the marathon runner of TLVs.
Exactly.
And then we've got the sprinter,
Yes.
the STEL short-term exposure limit.
Right. STEL is for those substances where even a short burst can be a big deal.
Exactly. Like imagine taking a big whiff of ammonia that's going to irritate your lungs, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you're constantly exposed to low levels of it over a whole day,
Okay.
that could lead to different, more long-term problems.
So it's all about understanding the different ways these substances can affect us, depending on the dose and the duration.
Precisely. It's about understanding that exposure isn't always an on-off switch. It's more like a dimmer switch with various levels of risk.
I like that. Okay, last acronym for this round, and it's a big one. C for ceiling. This one's like the never ever cross this line TLV. Imagine those bright yellow danger signs you see around hazardous areas.
Got it.
That's the vibe here.
So even a quick spike above this limit, even for a second, could be seriously bad news.
Exactly. It's about preventing those immediate, acute effects that can happen with very high exposures.
Okay, acronym decoder rings are officially on. Now let's talk specifics. I have to say, I was blown away by some of the substances this document covers. It's not just the usual suspects like asbestos or lead, although those are in there too, of course.
Right. It runs the gamut. Everything from everyday chemicals to those with names I can barely pronounce.
See, and that's what I think is so fascinating about this, right? It's like this peek behind the curtain of the everyday. Like, who knew there were safety limits for things like flour dust or even sunlight?
It really highlights how anything, even seemingly harmless substances, can become hazardous depending on the level and duration of exposure.
Speaking of levels, I noticed that some of these TLVs are incredibly small. Like, we're talking parts per million or even parts per billion.
Yeah,
It really puts into perspective just how sensitive our bodies are.
it does. And it speaks to the importance of having these guidelines in place, even for those substances we might not think of as being particularly dangerous.
Right. Like, take something as seemingly benign as noise. We all encounter it every day. But did you know there are specific TLVs for how much noise we can safely be exposed to over time?
Absolutely. And it's not just about loud, sudden noises either. It's about those prolonged exposures to even moderate levels of sound that can lead to hearing loss over time.
Which is super relevant for our listener today who might be working around some noisy equipment. Those decibels can really add up.
Exactly. And that's where this document comes in, providing those evidence-based guidelines to help minimize those risks.
So it's not just about avoiding a burst of noise that makes you jump. It's about protecting your hearing for years to come.
Precisely. It's about that long game, that preventative approach to health and safety.
And that preventative approach goes beyond just what we breathe or hear, right? I was particularly intrigued by the substances with the skin notation. What's the deal with those?
Ah, yes. The skin notation is a reminder that our skin is actually our largest organ, and it can absorb certain substances, just like our lungs can absorb gases.
So it's not just about wearing a mask or ear protection. It's about gloves, protective clothing, that whole 9 yards.
Exactly. It's about understanding those multiple pathways of exposure and taking the necessary precautions.
Which, again, is especially important for our listener who might be working with their hands a lot. It's not just about avoiding spills, it's about that constant contact that can add up over time.
Absolutely. It's about thinking about safety in a more comprehensive, holistic way.
And speaking of holistic, this document goes beyond just chemicals, right? It delves into those physical agents we encounter in the workplace, too. We've got everything from heat stress to vibration exposure, even radiation.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that workplace hazards come in many forms, and they all need to be accounted for.
And that's what makes this document so valuable, right? It's like this comprehensive guide to understanding those long-term risks and taking those preventative measures to stay healthy. But it's not just a document you read once and forget about.
Right. It's a living, breathing document, constantly evolving as new research emerges and new substances are identified.
It's like having a workplace safety guru constantly whispering in your ear, hey, there's a new study out about that chemical you're using, or did you know they've adjusted the TLV for that type of radiation?
Exactly. It's about staying informed and being proactive about your health. And that's where this deep dive comes in, right?
Mhm.
We're equipping you with the knowledge to have those conversations, to ask those questions, and to advocate for yourself and your colleagues.
It's about empowering ourselves to create those healthier, safer workplaces. Because at the end of the day, we all deserve to go to work knowing that we're not sacrificing our long-term health for a paycheck.
Absolutely. And it's not just about individual responsibility either. It's about creating a culture of safety where employers are just as invested in protecting their workers' health as they are in their bottom line.
Now you're speaking my language. It's about recognizing that healthy workers are productive workers and that investing in safety is investing in the future of the workforce.
Precisely. And that's a message that's more important than ever, especially as our workplaces continue to evolve with new technologies, new materials, and new challenges to navigate.
So let's bring this back to you, our listener. We've covered a lot of ground today, but what are some key takeaways you can apply to your own work life?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say don't underestimate the power of knowledge. This document, as dense as it might seem, is a treasure trove of information.
Oh, it's dense.
But it's valuable.
It is.
Think of it like a
A choose-your-own-adventure book.
there you go. For workplace safety, you can skim for the parts that are relevant to you right now, or you can really dive deep and explore all the different facets of occupational health.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Talk to your supervisor, consult with occupational health professionals, or even do some online research. There are tons of resources available to help you understand the risks and take those preventative measures.
Absolutely.
And remember, you don't have to wait until something goes wrong to start thinking about your long-term health.
Right.
This document is all about taking those proactive steps, making those small changes today that can have a huge impact on your health and well-being down the road.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, I think we've successfully navigated this dense but incredibly important document. We've unpacked those TLVs, explored those different exposure pathways, and hopefully equipped you with the knowledge to create a safer, healthier work environment for yourself and those around you. So to you, dear listener, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.